All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick's Strength and Power. So I wanted to give you guys another little preview of the upcoming 2019 Arnold Classic Australia. And one of the things that I find is going to be very fascinating about this show, and that is the brothers, Quincy Winklaar and Roelly Winklaar, will actually be competing against each other in the men's open bodybuilding category at the Arnold Classic Australia. Now, this is something that I think is going to be extremely fascinating. Number one, because Quincy Winklaar was formerly a 212 bodybuilder. He turned pro back in 2011. And the most recent competition that I can think of him competing in was the 2017 Toronto Pro, where he took 10th in the 212 category. And prior to that, he did the 212 New York Pro in 2017, where he took 16th. So as a 212 bodybuilder, he wasn't exactly a top guy. And he kind of has always looked like a downsized version of Roelly Winklaar, but that wasn't for lack of trying to put on size. It was because of the weight restrictions in the 212 division. Now, the interesting thing about Quincy is even though he competes in a weight class below Roelly in the 212 division, he's actually 2 inches taller than Roelly. At 5'8", Roelly Winklaar standing 5'6". So theoretically, Quincy could have the potential to put more muscle on his frame than Roelly did. And he's actually Roelly's little brother, so he's younger, so maybe he has not hit his peak yet. He's 36, while Roelly Winklaar is 41. And it also does appear that Quincy has the same amazing arm genetics that Roelly has, just on a much smaller scale. So what I'm interested to see here is now that Quincy is unrestricted by a weight category, by a weight cap, and to really see how much size he's able to put on to compete with these men's open bodybuilders. And since he hasn't competed in such a long time, I'm wondering if during that time off, that entire time, he was putting on size in anticipation to move up to men's open. So we could see a completely different version of Quincy than we've seen in the past at these 212 shows, now that he's unrestricted, again, by that weight cap. So there's a couple interesting comments that I've seen in the comment section about Quincy versus Roelly in Australia. One of them would be, what if Quincy ends up beating Roelly somehow? And honestly, I don't think that's really something that's probably going to happen anytime soon. Now, Quincy does have a pretty good physique. I actually do really like the structure and flow to his physique. Like I said, he's kind of like a downsized, more aesthetic-looking version of Roelly Winklaar. But how that's going to play out in the men's open bodybuilding category, I'm not too sure. In 212, he's a guy that's been placing outside of the top 10 in 212. So is he going to come over to men's open bodybuilding at a big show like the Arnold Australia and beat someone like his brother who just took third at the Olympia? I think that's highly unlikely, even considering the fact that Roelly came in pretty off at the Arnold Classic Ohio just 2 weeks prior to the Arnold Classic Australia. Now, the other comment that I've seen is, could we see the next Roelly Winklaar? Maybe he puts on a significant amount of size and Quincy becomes a little bit of a smaller version of Roelly, but competing in men's open and doing well as basically a smaller Roelly Winklaar, since they have very similar structures. I could see that happening, but I think Quincy has a lot of size to put on before anybody could call him a clone of his brother, because Roelly is just on another level of muscular development, upper body roundness and fullness. No one even really comes close to Roelly except for Phil Heath. But if anyone were to be able to do it, you would think it'd be someone like his brother that shares those same genetics, for the arms and the shoulders like that. And then one more update on the Arnold Classic Australia, and that is Brandon Curry, to my knowledge, will now not be competing there. I know his name's on the list. But from what I've heard, Brandon Curry will be taking actually the rest of the year off between now and the Olympia to spend time with his family before he has to go back over to Kuwait, which is totally understandable. So I don't think we're going to be seeing Brandon Curry at the Arnold Australia. So I think that Australia title is probably wide open. So that's the video for today, guys. Just a quick one. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Nick Strength and Power, signing out.